Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel as I adjust my chair. I just wanted to come to you very quickly with a quick idea, a short note, and this has to do with the notion that if you don't lose it, I'm sorry, if you don't lose it, if you don't use it, you lose it. Another way to think of that is you can't, I get it straight, you can't because you don't, or you can't because you won't. So what am I referring to? I had this idea for a while now, and I wanted to share it with you guys. And it stemmed from a couple years ago. I noticed myself helping myself out of my chair. Like every time I stood up, I'd, use my hands to help myself up. I'm like, I work out, exercise. I consider myself fairly healthy. Why am I helping myself out of the chair? And I realized that it was a habit that I developed. I didn't even realize it. And I don't need to do that. Had I continued to do that, after a while, I may find myself needing to do that just because of doing it for so long. So I was like, oh gosh, I got to stop doing that. And so I started, and I still do, I make a point of when I stand out of a chair, stand up off the couch, out of a chair, even in a lower seating position, I make sure that I do not help myself up with my upper body. I do it completely with my legs, glutes, abs, core, all that stuff. Keeps me strong and alert, and it's very good for body awareness and balance as well. So it's got all those good things attached to it. But I didn't want to just share that one movement with you. I wanted to share the overall idea that as we age, we have to be very careful, particularly in our society that has tended to promote being sedentary. And we know that that's unhealthy, and I like to think that we're getting away from that here in America. But also the idea that to be older, to be an elder, means to be sickly. And this is coming from many elders that I know in my life, that I've been acquainted with and have the privilege of knowing. These are elders who are decades older than me, who have vibrancy in their spirit, who are always thinking of new and fresh ideas, as well as honoring older concepts about things in life, who are not afraid to challenge themselves. As a matter of fact, they do all the time, and grow. And so they just totally fly in the face of the stereotype that to get older means to stagnate. That has not been my reality in terms of, like I said, the elders that I know. And I find younger people embracing that idea, and therefore limiting themselves by saying, well, I'm getting older now, it's not as easy to do that, blah, 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 rather than challenging themselves and saying, maybe I don't do it the way I did it then, but maybe I could do it this way. Oh, I've discovered some new ways of doing it. Or, wow, I'm stronger today than I was, 15 years ago because I've been working on this type of thing. In other words, don't just sit. Allow yourself to atrophy, and then blame it on age. Blame it on the fact that you've been sitting and allowing yourself to atrophy. That ain't what age looks like. Now, of course, wear and tear happens to our bodies. Things do change and all of that. But I think we put such an emphasis on that we assume it's all decline. And a lot of times, even some of that wear and tear doesn't have to be nearly as magnified as it is. As I've seen, I'm sure you've seen, if we didn't help it along by embracing that whole idea of decline. And then when you psychologically think that way, your lifestyle follows suit. So I wanted to share that with you today. And that has to do with more than a physical move, of course, but an entire outlook, how you view yourself and your world. There was also, in terms of that whole idea of the physical, movement, I realized a few years ago, I was like, you know what? When's the last time I skipped? There's been a very important change in my own, regular exercising routines, in which I do a lot more than I used to. I used to not do hardly any explosive movements, jumping, knee highs, all those kinds of things, burpees with leaps in the air. And I found it was just very important because I wasn't doing those kinds of moves, even though I was exercising regularly. And I found that, it had been so long since I've done them, it felt like I couldn't really lift my feet up off the ground to jump anymore, which of course is not true. So I was like, I have to make sure that I incorporate that. And of course, it's like anything else. Once you start doing it, it becomes a part of you. But that can go either way. Once you stop doing it, not doing it becomes a part of you to the point where you can't even imagine yourself doing it. So I think it's a very important message, something to contemplate and do more than contemplate. I encourage you, go out now and skip, or stand where you are and skip. And you'll find that you can still skip. Certainly, like I was saying, with wear and tear on the body, sometimes you can't skip. But the point is, don't let it all go and call it I'm aging. I'm very blessed to come from a family of people that do not use age as an excuse for anything. If anything, they may say, well, I don't feel as up to it, or I may not feel as strong or as healthy, but never because I'm older. It may be I find that difficult, so I'll work on it until I'm able to do it, type of thing. I mean, I love that. My grandma was like that. My mom, my dad, that's how we are. Cousins too. So I encourage you to consider that. Roll that around in your mind and challenge yourself to skip a little bit, leap a little bit, do a little something maybe you haven't done in 45 years. And you'll find that not only can you do it, but you may uncover some other fresh old ideas as well. Okay, take care. I'm on my way to go teach. Good grammar. I'm on my way to teach a psychology class. So talk to you later. Bye-bye.